Hi, everybody. It's Carol Clark here. We are going to get started right on time. I just wanted to welcome you to 7 Steps to Building a Successful Weight Loss Practice. And I wanted to thank Leslie and Rick from HealthWise for bringing this to you. I'm honored to be working to helping them bring this to you today. And we're just excited to be here. We've got a big group today, so I'm excited about that as well. If you are new to Zoom, as a participant for this meeting/webinar, you should be able to hover your cursor either above or below your screen, and you can see a chat that can pop up there. If you have questions throughout, just pop it, type right there into the chat, and we will be able to see that. In the meantime, before I get started, I'd love to see where people are from and also what type of practice or business that you're running with regards to weight loss. If you can put that in the chat, that would be awesome. Love to see where people are and make sure I know the audience that's here. So I know I saw a number of bariatric surgeons, some bariatricians, some fitness folks, some dietitians, nutritionists registered for the presentation today. So I know there was some of those, but if you want to put it in there, that would be awesome. And we will get started right on time, which is in just a minute. Excited to see so many people here today for sure. And it's a lot of information, but I am going to really do my best to keep it to 30 minutes. I know people are extremely busy, and so we want to make sure that we honor your time, share great information, but also honor your time. So anyhow, that'll be great. See some more people hopping on. That's terrific. Can everybody hear me? Maybe a couple yeses in there would be great, just to be sure. Thanks, Daniel. Awesome. All right, Leslie. Okay, let's see. It is at the top of the hour, and we are on time. Thanks, Brian. All right. Bariatric Nurse Navigator program. Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing, Mary Jo. I'm excited to be here, like I say, and I'm partnering with HealthWise to bring you this presentation today. We're going to work to keep it to 30 minutes. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If someone has I am able to unmute people if we need to, so I just wanted to not have the distraction of background noise, so that's why everyone's muted at this time. So I wanted to go ahead and get started. And the goal today for you is really to talk about strategies that you can put into action right away. I'm not a big just theory person. I like to have strategies that you can put into action right away that are going to grow your practice or your business, improve your patient outcomes, because that's what we're here for anyways, and also increase your profitability so that you can remain in practice and not only survive but thrive. So if that sounds good, we're going to go ahead and get started. And today I'm talking about 7 sort of bigger picture steps. However, as I mentioned, it's going to have some actionable items for you with specific implementation information. But I've worked together with Leslie and Rick, and we're actually going to be doing a little bit of a series. So that's the exciting thing too, because it's hard to cover in just 30 minutes. So we're also going to have a couple more presentations coming up. Next week is going to be some effective strategies for doubling your nutrition store sales, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that and why shortly. And then on the 13th, we're going to be doing a seminar. When I talk to physician groups, in practices, one of the most popular things is talking about how to organically reach patients on social media and how to simplify that process and actually make it kind of fun for everyone. So we're going to talk about that on the 13th. So just a little teaser as to something that you can look forward to. And the great thing is that everything we're going to talk about is under your control. It's not something that you have to spend money having someone else do. It's something that's totally under your control. And the strategies will work whether you want to stay small in your business or whether you want to go big, whether you are establishing a new practice or you're growing an existing practice, whether you're independent or whether you're hospital-based, and whether you have one or multiple practitioners. We've worked with people in all those situations, and the great thing is the strategies work for all of them. And before we get started, many of you may not know who I am. I'm not going to spend too much time on myself, but I do want to share with you a little bit so you'd understand why you might be listening to a webinar from me. But this is my husband and I. He's Dr. Tom Clark here in Newport News, Virginia. He's a board-certified bariatric surgeon and bariatrician. And this picture is way back in 2001. And back then, it was really not very cool to be just doing weight loss. And he was separating from a group. I used to be a hospital administrator. I've also managed many physician practices. And at the time, I was the administrator for his general surgery group, a large group that did general surgery. And he was specializing in bariatric surgery. And we always had this dream to have bariatric surgery and to then expand it to all aspects of weight loss. But back in 2001, that wasn't very cool. And so we've learned over the years, really I can call myself experienced over the past 20 years. And what that really means is that you've learned from your mistakes. So now my goal is to help other people avoid those mistakes and grow at a much more rapid pace. So this is us way back then. I had just given birth literally about a month prior to our fourth child here in Virginia. Went back to work almost within a couple of days because we were just getting ready to open the new practice, finalizing everything. Anyone who's been in this situation knows what I'm talking about. You can tell we sort of have that deer in the headlights look as you get going into your new practice with everything looking hunky-dory, and then you go through those ups and downs of entrepreneurship. But it is, like I say, fun, and fast forward to today, our dream has come to fruition. We now have a Center for Weight Loss Success here in Newport News, Virginia. It's a 10,000 square foot facility where we offer surgical weight loss, medical weight loss, a full nutrition in a nutrition store, retail. We have fitness in a 2,500 square foot fitness facility area, all under one roof. And we designed it with the patient in mind and really created a team that, of course, you're only as good as the team that supports you, and just adore all the people that work here. But as we grew, I guess some of the nuggets I want to make sure that you take away besides these 7 steps is not to be afraid to be different. Do what you feel is right for you, what's going to support your lifestyle and the best outcome for your patients. And don't spend time constantly comparing yourself to everyone else, because that just wastes your time and energy, creates frustration and anxiety. And in your heart, generally, you know what the best thing is to do. So now we grew this practice, and we actually have people come in for site visits. I also do consulting with a company with Medtronic, and we actually have site visits here and bring people in. It's not any sort of a anything that we duplicate in terms of a franchise, but it's so much fun to help other people grow. So as people came in and wanted to do the same thing, because we opened this back before it was cool to have a center with everything under one roof, way back in 2010, as that grew, I started a practice called Weight Loss Practice Builder, and we help actually other people build similar things in their own niche, in their area of expertise, and also in their own area of the world or the United States. So it evolved into Weight Loss Practice Builder, and it's just really fun to help people grow. And as you know, anyone who has a bariatric practice or a weight loss business, there's lots of different stages. You can go from struggling to surviving to thriving to dominating. And I can tell you, we have lived in every single one of these stages. And sometimes you even get to dominating and find yourself going backwards and going back up. So I've lived in all these different stages. And believe it or not, struggling is frustrating, of course, but dominating can be just as frustrating if you're a slave to your business. So the goal here is to build a practice that not only is successful, but something that it fulfills what you want out of life, that it brings you joy and it doesn't make you a slave to your business, meaning that you have to do everything and feel like you can never get a minute's peace or time off. So we like to get people to that dominating stage and then have them stay there, but also have fun along the way and enjoy what it is they're doing, knowing that they're making a huge difference for their patients, for their team, their family of team members, and that sort of thing. So that's the goal here. I've taken some of that experience over the past years and put it into a few books. My most recent one is How to Add Medical Weight Loss to Your Practice. Prior to that, 5 Profit Engines of a Successful Bariatric Surgery Practice. And then previous to that, some marketing books and publishing books, that sort of thing. And so I actually love talking on all these topics. I have to keep it to 30 minutes though, so we're going to touch on the most important things I think can help make a difference for you. For those of you who are bariatric surgeons out there, this is one example of how making a commitment to being different and doing the right thing for your patients and along with your team, it can actually pay off in a bigger way. We are actually in the state of Virginia, as I mentioned. My husband's about the only independent bariatric surgeon in the state. And we found that there was a lot of people coming to our practice who didn't have the coverage for weight loss surgery, which is different than such as New York or some of the other states. So it's one of those areas where no one else was really providing a service. So we really worked hard to carve out a niche service for cash pay surgery, very affordable, providing services that are on site, as I mentioned, our comprehensive center, but also online. So if there's someone who travels in for surgery, we can help accommodate what it is that they want or need. Probably about 97% of our surgeries are sleeve gastrectomies, and for the past almost 9 years, he performs about 95% of them as an outpatient. Patients love it, and they have some skin in the game, and we love serving all the populations, but this was an underserved area that people thought we were crazy for carving out a niche. But if you follow your gut, you follow what it is that you know that you want to do, it can actually pay off. And provide so much satisfaction for you, and more importantly for your team, most importantly the patients that you serve. For all weight loss practices, no matter where you are, if you're here, you're interested in weight loss, I don't want to negate the fact that retail is one of those things I find so many physicians shy away from. And it's one of those things that if they're not buying retail products from you, they are buying them from somewhere else. So you may as well provide that. You'll see that your outcomes oftentimes will increase, your compliance will improve, your patient engagement will improve because they're coming in on a much more regular basis for their product. And we do utilize products from HealthWise. And HealthWise products is a big part of this revenue. You can see here where you think it's a small thing, but just from 2011 to 2017 and last year and up until now, we have more than doubled our retail sales. And on the webinar next week, I'm going to talk to you about some of those strategies. But it's one of those things that is great for a number of reasons. Number one, the surgeon or physician or practitioner doesn't have to be the one doing the selling. It sells quite easily, especially if you taste test everything and make sure that you're working with a quality retailer, a quality product such as HealthWise, and making sure that you're offering things that they can't get from somewhere else. So retail can be a great way. You also have events in your store. It can be just really a fun way to get your patients in the door and to actually add a revenue stream that stabilizes your revenue cycle and also just helps to boost your overall underlying, revenue streams. So from HealthWise, just for an example, I just want to share with you from my perspective, from our perspective here, the top 5 things that we use from HealthWise happens to be their cold drinks, especially their lemonade's a huge seller, their hot drinks, especially cappuccino and their hot chocolate, their bars, especially the caramel crunch and the caramel nut, their oatmeal is awesome, and their soups, particularly chicken bouillon, works great. A lot of these products work great for surgical patients and our non-surgical patients. So that's one of the things that I just want to point out that's really helpful when you're making your plan. I don't want to spend a lot of time on trends in weight loss, but it is important. Statistically, I'm sure you all know that in 2013, obesity was recognized as a disease, which opened up the more opportunity for research and acceptance of treatment. 2/3 of the American population are overweight, 1 in 6 children are obese, and as of 2017, all 50 states had an obesity rate of greater than 20%, and just 2 decades ago, it was less than 15%. People are spending $70 billion a year on weight loss. So that's some of the news. I don't know that I consider that good news, but the point is that there's plenty of patients to go around for everyone, and there's plenty of people out there looking for quality services that you can provide, and they're willing to spend money on it. Unfortunately, from a physician perspective, so oftentimes, and for people who have been in this field for a long time, people are still looking for magic bullets. I know it probably drives you just as crazy as it does me when people come in and they just want that magic bullet to lose the weight and miraculously have it go away and not invest the time involved in really changing their behavior, what they're taking in terms of their nutrition, and also adding fitness as a aspect of their overall plan. It's very frustrating, but it's one of those things that as physicians And as healthcare practitioners, healthcare providers, it's one of the things that oftentimes people don't want to pay for it from you, but they're willing to spend all this money on gimmicks. So there's so many trends that are out there, but the bottom line is there's people out there who need your help. And I encourage you to continue to persevere, build your practice, and of course, that's what we're here for today. The steps for success, I'm going to share 7 of them with you, and you might think they're somewhat typical, but each one of them I'm going to share how you can customize it to you specifically so that, like I say, not only are you helping your patients, but you're also getting what you want most out of life and out of your career. The first one is to create and communicate your vision. And I know you're going to say, oh gosh, she's getting into this theory. This is just too big picture. It doesn't really apply to me. But this is often forgotten. But quite frankly, it actually sets the tone for everything that you do. It sets the tone for your practice, how your practice is designed, how you hire your staff, how your staff function. Beginning with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey said, is one of those things that you may think is really nothing you have to worry about, but it is something that can truly make the difference between a practice that you love and does awesome versus one that just duplicates what everyone else is doing and gets by. So your vision, like I say, drives all your decisions and your actions. I'm going to share just an example of how important this is and how specific your vision can be. But your vision, for example, when we were starting here as an example, was we will create a comprehensive state-of-the-art weight loss center that includes adequate space for education, events, counseling, fitness, retail, staff support, exam treatment, and storage. Here's the key as we were designing things. The design will be non-traditional with an open, warm, groovy, unique, clean, and organized yet inviting feel that showcases patient success. So that guided every single decision about how the space was designed, what we have on our walls, and it also affects organization that our staff keep their desks clear, keep things organized. Our staff will be friendly, efficient, self-directed, optimistic, creative, skilled, dedicated, loyal, and sensitive to patient needs. So as we're hiring people, those are the qualities that we look for. Our office and staff will support healthy habits with adherence to the same type of foods we encourage our patients to eat. Thus, in our center, we don't allow, we don't have reps in that bring a bunch of junk food in. We focus on what we teach our patients, and we all try to follow that as well. Pardon me, I'm getting over a cold. The staff is rewarded for their dedication and have full access to the services we offer our patients in addition to products to the nutritional store available at cost. So what we do is the staff here partake in anything they want and get all the products at cost. You want your staff using the product so that they can promote it to your patients. Our logo and brand will exude positivity, hope, success, and a strong relationship with our patients. Communication will be clear and services offered in a concierge style. Our patient education will be thorough and available outside as well as fully available on mobile devices for patient convenience. So as we move forward, and as we operate today, everything surrounds that vision. So think about what is it that you want for your vision. Write that down, create it, and share it with your staff so that they can live that vision as well. Pardon me. The next thing is to determine your business model and revenue streams. So you may already be in practice, and probably most of you are in business, but you need to determine whether you're going to go with an insurance-based practice or a cash pay or fee-for-service practice. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, but I'm not your attorney or your accountant, but you do have to set them up extremely different, because if you're not going to participate with insurance, you need to make sure that you have it set up as a full cash pay service. For primary care physicians and surgeons, the great thing is you have a built-in patient base already there for people who are seeking weight loss, and it makes it easier for you to transition. You need to determine what your business model is, what's right for you. If you're insurance-based, you may end up having more clients coming to you. Your reimbursement typically is a little bit lower though, so you need to understand that. And it changes your dynamic a little bit in your office, but can be extremely enjoyable. And if you want to do a cash pay, the great thing about that is you can kind of develop your practice on your own terms, and the patients also have more skin in the game, so oftentimes their outcomes can be higher. I'm generalizing there, I know, but it is actually true for many, in many cases. As if you're a primary care who's moving into weight loss, I think sometimes it used to be that you could get a little bit of ridicule for that. Not so much anymore. I do encourage you to get board certified in bariatric medicine, and make sure that you have your credentials, of course. And also view yourself as a specialist. You're not a general, you're not just a primary care anymore. You're a specialist, and communicate well with your colleagues as to what your goal is, how you're helping the patients, and to help alleviate that fear that you're going to take over all the medical care for their patients. In terms of revenue streams, I would start smaller. Start with your surgical or medical weight loss. I think retail is one of the things that should be added quickly, just because it can add and boost to your bottom line. You can add things like lipo B12 injections, adding an e-store, online educational programs people can pay for, adding fitness, and also some complementary services such as aesthetics or bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Getting a little bit off topic there, but there's so many different revenue streams, and you really want to build things so that you as the practitioner isn't the only glue holding the practice together, that you have other revenue streams coming in. Like I say, I would start with your main service, and then I would add retail next. That's going to get you the next biggest bang for your buck in terms of your investment of your time and your resources. Injections are easy. E-store is one of those things that you can add on later. Education is important. Fitness is hard to make money at, quite frankly, but it's a service that you can offer that helps to attract patients. So that's one of the reasons why you'll see that coming into play. So determine your business model, and then your revenue streams is the next thing. After that, you want to create your business plan and your budget. And this is often overlooked as well, because you know how we all are. Just like people want weight loss immediately, people want to jump in too fast to their business model. And they want to just go ahead and get going. Let's just get it started. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to have a business plan, and I don't need a budget, nor do I need to communicate that with my staff. It's none of their business. Those are actually some of the things that can get you into more trouble than if you take the time, create your business plan, your budget, and share some of that, not all of it necessarily, but share where your budget goals are, and oftentimes your expenses, with your staff. Understand that your two biggest expenses are going to be your overhead and your staff. Those are your two biggest expenses. And what I find when I consult with practices is a lot of times they'll be having difficulty, and their first answer to any problem is to add more staff. I think we just need more staff. That's what we need. And oftentimes more staffing is not necessarily the answer. It's really taking a look at what the systems are that you have in place, or lack thereof, and going backwards and taking a peek at that, and really determining your overall, like I said, business plan, and what's your budget, because sometimes you can spend way more than you're actually bringing in, especially initially. So you want to make sure that you have that plan. Your budget allows for covering your costs, and also for saving some money as well for your business, for reinvestment. For your pricing, you want to sort of reverse engineer that. So once you do your business plan and you have more of an idea of what your revenue streams are going to be, what your expected revenue is, what your cost of goods sold are in terms of any products that you're going to be selling, and then also your direct and indirect expenses, you can get an idea as to how much money you need to be bringing in order to accommodate a profit for your practice. So you want to reverse engineer those revenue streams that you have, and what your price is going to be for those, and make sure that you have something that's going to end up in a profit, rather than spending so much money initially that you find yourself in trouble and you can't get yourself back out of it. I see that happen more often than I like to admit. The fourth step is to surround yourself with great people, train them, and treat them well. Your team determines your success. None of us can do this on our own. In fact, you shouldn't ever want to. Micromanaging is miserable. You want to hire a competent team, and what some of the tips that I like to share with people is to bring people in as a team member, not as an employee, to employ them with employment contracts, not job descriptions. So employment contracts is more outcome-based. Make sure that you do your evaluations with them, give them feedback. Sit down with them at least annually and talk with them about what their personal and what their professional goals are, and figure out what motivates them, because everyone's going to be different. You don't want a cookie cutter team. You don't want everyone with the exact same skill set. What you want to know is what motivates them. Is it money, which is actually usually pretty rare? Is it the environment that they work in, their team? Is it their boss? Is it an attaboy getting recognition for a job well done? Is it the patients that bring them the most satisfaction? What is it that motivates them? Because that's what's going to drive your overall success factor. Knowing what motivates them and then utilizing that as you provide them with support and as you review their performance. Try not to micromanage. There are times when you have to micromanage, but really I like to give staff an outcome. What is the outcome that I want? A certain number of sales, a new process I want put into place. Give them an outcome and then let them use their creativity. A lot of times they can be extremely more creative than we can be. So you want to have them create that and then bring it back to you. Giving them an outcome is really helpful. If you hire somebody new, use that 90-day probationary period as a trial. Really, if you have someone who's not meeting your vision or performing as you want to, even though you've provided a great orientation for them, you want to cut your losses. You want to create a team that has extremely low turnover, that's dedicated to you and loyal to you and to your patients. And for me, especially with front desk for that, a lot of times I'll hire based on their customer service skills. The other skills, you can kind of teach them the rest of it. But really that customer service, especially for us, as I shared with you, our vision in a concierge style practice is so important. In retail for us, I have a phenomenal retail store manager. She is sales oriented. She's not a clinician. She's awesome. She is one of the biggest reasons for that growth that you saw earlier. She drives that, and we just talk about goals. She just goes and makes it happen. My office manager, same deal. We talk about the goals. She makes them happen. Our fitness and education coordinator, same way. She actually branches out and does a lot of our marketing, as we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks. So taking your staff, figuring out what they want to do, advancing them, challenging them, and utilizing their talents to the best of their ability and for your practice will really make them happy and you happy, and the overall performance of your practice so much better. The fifth one, and anyone who knows me knows I'm sort of a systems girl, you need to have a system developed for just about everything that you do and involve your staff. They're the ones who should help you create a system for something that needs to happen, whether it's how patients are registered, sales in the store, anything technologically related in terms of scheduling appointments, taking payments, all that sort of. Build your systems, document them. Systematize as much as you can. And you may think, well, you're concierge, why are you systematized? The reality is that even though you're systematized, that's what gives you the joy of having patients come in and have a top-notch experience and be able to expect that and to live that and to experience that every time they come into your practice. Having those systems in place also decreases staff dissatisfaction because they know exactly what to expect. They know what is expected of them. It makes orientation of new employees that much easier. And having systems built out, especially to track your statistics, is really critical. So your statistics, people oftentimes have no idea. When I talk to them, I track a lot of mine weekly and then monthly. I utilize staff to help with that. They're responsible for portions of that. I have one sort of numbers girl who puts it together for me, and then I can take all those and do the analysis, and then we can regroup and move forward in different ways. But statistics, numbers, I'm a big numbers girl. You need to know exactly what your what's coming in. I do my profit and loss every single week. I make sure that I've got things going, and you want to make sure that you've got all that taken care of, and at least monthly. You want to make sure you're reviewing that. If you're the administrator with your physicians or the business owner, you want to have your marketing statistics, a way to analyze those. We track every single person who comes in, where their referral source is. I can tell you right now, we have about 30% of our patients come from our patients. About 30% of them come from online. Cold traffic coming in through our marketing efforts, which we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks, some of those strategies. And then I also have about another 30% coming from physician or hospital referrals. And then the last 10% comes from drive-by, word of mouth, other aspects like that. They may be someone who just comes into our retail store and then turns into a patient. So those sorts of things. But I can tell you marketing, financial, my marketing, if I'm tracking a return on investment, I'm amazed at how many practices I'll talk to and you say, do you get a return on, they're spending all this money on pay per click and getting impressions and all that sort of thing. And when I say, what's your return on investment, they're not really sure. And for me, a return on investment means that person who was brought in through whatever that marketing method was ends up being a paid client. So that's what I like to track is, are they a paid client? If not, then I want to not stop doing that effort and I want to focus my efforts somewhere else that's going to be more productive for me. So you want to track your referrals, your marketing return on investment, your financial goals, your sales goals, and include your staff. If you know that you need to, if you've reverse engineered it, you know how many we put together, especially in January, jumpstart dies, how many you want to sell, have them have that goal. Track it on a board, make it fun, include them in that. But making sure that you build systems and you go back and then you have those in place to improve your orientation and your patient. It'll improve everything from your team satisfaction and your patient satisfaction. I talked already a bit about marketing and measuring your return on investment. I'm just really, really big on that because it's so important for you to have your marketing efforts. If you're going to spend money on it, which is very expensive, you want to make sure that you're measuring your return on investment. The big picture from a marketing perspective is that your goal, and this is actually the least expensive, oftentimes almost free way to have a steady stream of qualified patients coming through the door. You want to have a steady stream of qualified patients, often on autopilot, coming through your door. And you can do this through relationship marketing. And what you do there is you attract potential patients online, through physician offices. We'll talk about some of those sorts of things. Online, you can have easy Facebook campaigns. You don't even have to spend any money. You can actually be doing podcasts that you turn into blogs that you are optimizing, getting out there. You can have your recipes, your tip sheets, your email marketing, your text marketing, all those sorts of things. Build a relationship, but you want to attract those potential patients and don't focus on selling. Focus on building a relationship. So during that relationship period, you're sharing with them information that they're curious about weight loss. You're answering their questions. You know what people ask every time they come in. Why can't I lose weight? Do I think I'm doing all the right things? I can't lose weight. Why? What's the importance of staying hydrated? Why is protein so important? All those things you can actually turn into a very great conversation, building a relationship with them. Build that relationship. And then they want to come to you for all their information. And then they come in, typically, and you can convert them to surgery or whatever service you're offering, whether it's fitness or medical weight loss, or even just your nutritional store. Convert them to one of those services, treat them well, provide those concierge services, make them raving fans. And then what happens is they turn around and attract people that are just like them into your practice because they want to tell other people about you. And that gets into a whole patient referral program where you're actually gathering your testimonials and we even will reward them somewhat. We use our retail store. The other great thing about retail is if you have anyone who has, say there was a slight mishap, their schedule ended up getting messed up and they came in and the appointment was at a wrong time. I have the staff at they're able to appease that in some way. First, they listen. That's what people want, is someone to listen to them. And they can use retail product oftentimes, figure out what their favorite bar is or their favorite drink and give that to them. It's very little for you, but it's actually a way to help continue to build that awesome relationship. When they send more people to you, have a referral program in place. I help people set those up all the time. It's very low cost to have a referral program in place to encourage people to refer to you. And oftentimes they don't care about a gift. If they are really raving fans, they're just going to tell people about you because they want to tell people about you because they feel so great about themselves. So this is the big marketing picture. And I think people make it too difficult, sometimes too complicated. You know, they feel like they have to have all these AdWords out there, and they have to have all these big fancy ads that tell how awesome I am and how awesome my practice. You know, that's not what people want to hear. What the people want to hear is, what are you going to do for them? Sell the shade, not the tree. They don't care that the tree's there. They care that the shade is keeping them from being hot. So what is it that you can do for them What is it that they're going to come for you that's going to help solve their biggest problem? And then help them solve that problem. And then they become raving fans and send more people back to you. That's really that. If you can get this big picture down pat, you are on your way to a robust practice in business. Once you have everything in place, you really want to then focus on how are you going to grow your business. And this is where initially when I talked about a number of different revenue streams, you don't implement those all at the same time till you have a lot of things pretty much in place and working really well. But then you do want to grow your business. What are some additional services you might want to offer? What are some referral programs that you want to put into place? What are some additional events that you want to do? Some speaking that you want to do? Do you want to become published? I do publishing as well on the side, and I help people publish books, which then increases their credibility, gets them more speaking engagements around town and nationally. Grow your business in some of those ways. So remember, your brand is your reputation. So it's what people are saying about you. It's not necessarily just your logo, and that's where your brand is your reputation. You want to do everything you can to create a great reputation and to maintain that reputation. And oftentimes, being different, something people don't expect, is one of the best ways to do that. If you're worried about comparing yourself to everyone else, if you're just trying to mimic what everyone else is doing in terms of their marketing and what they're offering, and you're trying to imitate what other people are doing in terms of their programs, oftentimes that's not what's going to make a difference. Is for you being different and serving something different and making sure that you're helping them get the outcome that they want. As you grow your business, you want to be intentional. And I don't get too caught up in, I do usually a vision out further, no longer than 3 years, definitely 1 year out. But I really like to focus on 90-day strategies. And 90 days is one of those things where you have to accomplish, if you have a goal to be done in 90 days, you can't wait till December to make that goal happen. It has to be working out. So you figure out your 90-day strategy, which is going to get you to your 1 or 3 year goal. And then you turn that into weekly actions and share that into goals for your staff, because they will latch on to that, and they want to serve you well. They want to serve the patients well. They want to do a good job. So help them do a good job by sharing with them your bigger vision and how you're going to get there in terms of those smaller steps. And I find including them in that process is one of the best things you can do. On Mondays, most Mondays, I'll meet with my 3 managers, and they're really the ones who are making the biggest, I just help guide the vision. They're the ones who help figure out those individual strategies and then make sure that those occur. Couldn't do it ever without them. So being intentional about what it is you want, and as you grow your business, add those referral programs, increase your number of events in your store, in your practice. If you don't have retail, add your nutritional retail. It is a huge revenue source, and it's also such a great way to have that interaction and that engagement with your patients. Make sure you have some sort of support groups. Add podcasts if you want to. Increase your organic traffic flow. Build that relationship. And like I say, have a passion for what you do, because it definitely will show. And these are the people, these are just sampling of our patients, but this is who you're really doing it for. And if you keep them top of mind, that's what's going to make also a bigger difference and help you outshine your competitor, who might just be looking at things more from just a numbers perspective. I'm trying to keep to our 30 minutes, so I'm just going to do a quick summary here. The first thing was create and communicate your vision, determine your business model and your revenue streams that you're going to include, create your business plan and your budget, surround yourself with great people, train them and treat them well, build your systems for every aspect of your business, market and measure your return on investment. Don't just throw money away because you heard it's a good idea or that's what your competition is doing. And then think about those aspects and those different methods you're going to follow to grow your business. Some things I don't have on here. I do recommend that physicians get board certified in bariatric medicine, and also, through if it's surgeons, board certified, obviously. Be different. Follow your heart and your instinct. Don't just try to follow what everyone else is doing. You're going to be exhausted if you're constantly comparing yourself to your competition. Don't micromanage. Trust in hiring a competent staff. Build your team, let them be involved, and let them help build the systems that are going to serve you well. And lastly, practice what you preach. We all are, if we are going to encourage a patient to do something, we've already tasted the product, we've already tried it ourselves, we live it each day, and it's a healthy place to work, it's a fun place to work. Create that atmosphere in your practice, and you will find that that will serve you really, really well if you practice what you preach. I'm going to go back through the chat here. It looks like I have a couple of, do you have visitors to your practice locations? Do you share any of your forms, teaching aids, do consulting? Yes to all those questions, Gary. And I do have a master's degree. My master's degree is in nursing administration. So it's my master's is in nursing, and my focus is administration. And my background is I'm a past hospital administrator, but I've spent most of my career in practice management and leading and building practices from the ground up. And so that's where my passion is too. I just love it. A lot of times, yeah, I'm going to provide my contact information as well. And so we also have, if somebody's brand new and they have no idea where to start with their educational materials, we do have some sort of turnkey medical weight loss programs that we help put into your practice. But really with these steps, if you follow them, and also just free consultative calls just to see where you are and give you a couple suggestions. There's also some additional resources right on HealthWise, their site, healthwisenri.com. If you go there, they've got a number of blogs and different helpful free resources. I have a whole bunch of free resources on weightlosspracticebuilder.com. You can go there. There's a tab called free resources, and you'll see some additional resources there. My email is carol@weightlosspracticebuilder.com. That's how it's the best way to reach me. Like I say, a lot of times I'll just do a quick strategy session with somebody and then see if there's some specific need that they have. Some people just want some quick advice. Other people want more involved services. So I'm really about just helping people to get to where it is that they want to go. Don't forget, we're going to have some more coming up, but we have some more upcoming presentations. 5 effective strategies for doubling your nutrition store sales. That's next Wednesday. And the Wednesday after that is organic reach on social media simplified. Some real hands-on things to use right there. And so that's sort of, I wanted to try to keep to my time frame here. I know it was a lot of information. Let me see here. Great questions. Do you utilize keto diets as well as others? Our diets are mostly adequate protein, controlled carbohydrate. We are getting ready to, we also do a little bit with intermittent fasting, a little bit. Most of our patients, actually here we get a lot of our patients are primarily our bariatric surgery patients, but we do have probably 2/3 or maybe a hair more surgical, and the rest are medical patients. And we do have some access to dietitians. On our staff, we actually have nutritional consultants as well. And we utilize, especially if you're just getting going, here's one of the things I find when I'll talk to, somebody will call me and they're kind of in that period where they're having financial difficulty and they want to know what to do. And when I look at what it is, they sort of built everything before they built the demand for it. So they have a clinical psychologist on staff, dietitians on staff, they have personal trainers on staff, and in the end, they would have been better served initially to possibly just contract with those people initially, utilizing their services, and then build that as the need comes to pass. That's a much more financially sound way to do it. So our psychiatrist or psychologist is what we use for surgery, and we do outsource those. We used to have one who came in and we did her billing and we did a percentage between the two of us, but we ended up needing more than just the one, and so now we outsource that. We have a number of them that we hand selected to utilize for our clearances. Our labs, we have, Lisa, good question. Our labs, we actually have a concierge lab that is in our practice. They usually will do it one of 2 ways. Either they will provide the lab services and the employee, and we just provide them with space, Or other times, if you have someone who can do the lab draws, they'll pay you a certain amount per lab draw. But we do have a concierge lab service. The one we're using is BioReference at the moment. But she's here. It's so easy for me. I just provide her with space. They handle all the guidelines, staffing, everything. And it's turned out to be an awesome thing. They also, because they're a concierge lab service, they don't end up, they work very easily with our patients in case something's not covered by their insurance. So for medical weight loss, we do not take insurance. We do that as a fee for service, but their labs are able to do through the concierge lab and through their insurance. How do you inform patients that it's cash-based, most hesitant to outright say it to patients or in our ads? What I find, Gary, and what I think is most important is people don't like surprises. So we are very, and we're different in this way. And that's part of what I think people like. We're different because we do share our fees right up front. We don't hide it, and people know what to expect. And oftentimes it actually helps with free consultations because when they come in, they already know what it is that you offer, and they already know the price, so it's not a shock to them. And you don't have to spend all this time agonizing over making a big sale. You want to make sales as easy as possible. So we actually do ads that we're the lowest price self-pay surgery on the East Coast. And we actually attract from other states because of that. But it's not because we have our services, we've negotiated great prices with our local hospital and anesthesia. So we're upfront about that. And that's just the way that we do it. But that way we find people don't get surprised. They don't leave with a negative taste in their mouth. And at any rate, when they come in, if they don't end up buying one of your medical programs, or if they're not a candidate for surgery for us, they'll end up buying something in your store. And so we bring them right through there. We make sure they leave with a free gift. We show them around. We have packages of jumpstart diets, all sorts of different things, and it helps them at least get comfortable with your store. And then oftentimes they'll build a relationship through your store, and then they'll turn into a service within your practice. And in terms of charges, we basically, this is another thing. Sometimes people think they have to have, we do sales in the store, but for our services, we don't want to be the cheapest game in town. We also don't offer some of the things like people will buy it. We don't do HCG. That's a little bit, not something that's in our, something that we're interested in doing. But we do develop our fees based on what the cost is to us. And then we increase it. And we have various levels for everyone. So we have some that are just strictly online programs. And then we have really high, robust products right here in the office that includes a lot of accountability. So we'll base our fees on what that's costing us then with an upcharge. And our retail products, whatever our, when we sell those, we double the price. So it's 100% markup. And the reason why we do that is because it's typical, number one. And number two, when we have sales, then you're not experiencing, what happens is you end up with a higher profit too when you offer sales and that sort of thing. We have some, next week I'm going to tell you a number of sales tactics, and a lot of those do include some sales because that will drive people into your doors, which then will also cause them to be upsold into other products once they get to know you. Like I say, it's all about forming that relationship with people. And then once you build that relationship, then they are more likely to buy from you and to continue to come back and to refer their family and friends. I also do have a membership site called Bariatric Business Boss. I just started that actually, but it's trainings like this that I do weekly. I also provide people with weekly tip sheets and recipes that they can send out to their patients, especially if you're a practice that's smaller and you may struggle with how do you build that relationship and what can you be sending out to increase that engagement for your patients and that sort of thing. So that's one other option. And that was all I had specific for today. I'm excited. We did cut to 45 minutes, so 30 minutes about of content and then 15 minutes of questions and answers. Does anyone else have any other questions? If you want a copy of the slides from today, email me, Carol, K-A-R-O-L, at Weight Loss Practice Builder. I'd be happy to get you the slides if you want that. And, or if you wanted to just have a chat about a question that you may have, feel free to do that. Are there any other questions. Let me just make sure I got them all. Looks like I did. I know your days are busy and everyone has to get back to clinic probably and back to their business, but I do appreciate your time. On behalf of HealthWise and myself, Leslie Rick from HealthWise and myself, I want to thank you for your time and look forward to hopefully having you here next week as well. Hey, Rick, thanks. I will. Kat is my, give our love to Kat. We just love her. She's my store manager. And like I say, I can't take credit for it's her. She's awesome. And there's the site, Weight Loss Practice Builder. Leah, thank you so much. All right. David, thanks. Kat, yeah, she's the awesome sauce. And that's what you want to do. You want to have a great team and you want to surround yourself with good people. All right, you guys, I'm going to end the meeting for now. And I want to say thank you and hopefully we'll see you next week.